and helped patch up a friendship between two people who'd had a falling out nearly 50 years ago, as 12-year-olds themselves. But Colin had also found out secrets about his own family he sort of didn't want to know, or he'd half found out the secrets, and he and his mom had agreed he knew as much as he needed to, for now. But someday, a voice whispered in Colin's head, someday I'm going to want to know more. It's just, Nevaeh said, gesturing toward the next row of tables and makeshift booths. We left Prilla all by herself. Colin jolted. He'd gotten kind of lost in his own head and had almost forgotten the conversation with Nevaeh. He had a tendency to do that. But now he gazed over at the next row of tables and booths where signs advertised replacement windows, plumbing snakes, life insurance, and other things that Groveview residents apparently wanted more than mystery solving, judging by the crowds around them. And Nevaeh was right. Her older sister Prilla was indeed all by herself, at a card table with a taped-on sign that said, "Want to hire 2 great companies at once to clear out your overstuffed house? Ask questions and sign up here." Colin's mom and Nevaeh's dad both owned junk removal companies, but they took very different approaches. Colin's mom's company was called Possession Curation, and she focused on helping people pare down their belongings to only the items they truly cared about. Nevaeh's dad was the Junk King. He was all about finding new uses for old things, new buyers for items other people might throw in the trash. For years, Colin's mom and Nevaeh's dad had viewed each other as competitors, enemies even. It had been Colin and Nevaeh's idea for their parents to start working together as partners. Colin widened his gaze. Just to the right of Prilla's table, Nevaeh's dad and her 3 older brothers stood in a booth with signs all over the place, practically shouting, "The Junk Kingdom," and "Got junk you don't want anymore? The Junk King will take it. I love junk." It kind of hurt Colin's eyes. Also, everyone in Nevaeh's family looked alike, with their thick, dark blonde hair, wide, constantly surprised-looking brown eyes, pale, prone to freckling skin, and mouths that always seemed to be open or on the verge of grinning, laughing, or calling out a joke. So just about every time Colin saw one of Nevaeh's siblings, he did a double-take and had to remind himself, no, that's not some weird sci-fi version of Nevaeh who's years older, and maybe even a different gender. It's just that Nevaeh has brothers and a sister. She's not an only child like me, remember? Colin slid his gaze past Prilla to the left, where his mother stood alone in her own company's booth, which looked sleek and classy and quiet and peaceful and a little empty. Colin and his mom looked alike too, with dark curly hair and deep-set eyes. But Colin had always been tall for his age, and his mother was tiny. She didn't take up much space, even in her own booth. "Prilla can hold her own," he told Nevaeh, a little brusquely. He really wasn't thinking about Prilla at all. "I guess." Nevaeh slumped down in her folding chair and let out a small sigh. Then suddenly she bolted upright. "Quick, 2 o'clock, she muttered, speaking out of the side of her mouth like a spy or a gangster. "It's not 2, Colin argued. "Check your phone. It's at least—" "I'm not talking about time," Nevaeh countered, still keeping her lips mostly pressed together, as if she were telling secrets. "Direction!" "Oh, right." Colin resisted rolling his eyes. Nevaeh was probably the only 12-year-old on the planet who gave directions based on where the hands of an old-fashioned clock might point. But Colin had been hanging out with her most of the summer. He knew to turn his head just slightly to the right. And he understood instantly what she wanted him to see. A girl in an odd purple dress was staring at him and Nevaeh, staring hard. Or maybe the girl was actually staring at the sign they had in front of their table, the sign Colin himself had carefully lettered. Mystery Solvers, Inc., Nevaeh Greevey and Colin Creedmont owners. We find lost friends and relatives, lost pets, lost items. We help with other mysteries and dilemmas. The girl seemed to feel